Hey, everybody. Happy last day of July. I know a lot of us, if you're like me, you are ready to see July go because we are in the throes of some awful heat down here in the South. And I am ready to be one step closer to actual fall and hoodie and sweater weather. So, not sweatier weather, sweater and hoodie weather. So, why am I here today? Well, since today is the last day of fall, and I know this video is getting out late, um, it is time for me to do my end of July monthly totals for hashtag craft yourself free. So let's see what all projects I completed. Um, and granted, there was a lot of stuff going on with the fair and all that kind of stuff. So, plus with the heat and it cranking up my MS symptoms. So, let's see what all I got done. And if you are new here, because I do have some new people, if you do not know what hashtag craft yourself free is, I will link Sam from Memphis Makes and Christina over at Bella Uncinetto in the description box, as always, for these videos. Go over and check them out. They are the ones who came up with this idea because there's a lot of um, hashtags, there's a lot of things to hold yourself accountable for what you're crafting, but a lot of them entail using either new, I mean, either old stash, specific stash, or thereabouts, something like that. And hashtag craft yourself free encompasses anything you use for crafting, whether it be yarn, glue, puzzles, clay, beads, the string for beads, the wire for beads. If you consider it any type of crafting, including baking, then you can include it in your totals. And however you want to count it is how you would hold yourself accountable. Um, so how I'm holding myself accountable for the things I'm creating, because it seems like so far everything's been crochet. Um, I am weighing everything that I make in ounces, and then at the end of the month, I will also total them up into grams and pounds and give you a running total of how many projects I finished. So, and I'm also keeping my used yarn labels for skeins of yarn that were totally finished, that had zero scrap left over. And I'm not counting those in my totals, but they are going into a basket for my end of year total just on yarn band totals. Because I know my weights are going to be entirely different at the end of the year versus my yarn band totals because there's a lot of skeins on projects we don't necessarily finish. Um, so let's get into it, guys. And like I said, Sam and Christina will be linked in the description box. Please, 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 if you don't know who they are, go check them out. Um, like all the rest of the creators, they can use some watch time. And seriously, go check out their hashtag craft yourself free. Um, they make a lot of great content anyways. So let's get into my totals for the month of July now that we're almost 5 minutes into this. So what all did I actually finish? So we will start off with, let's see. A lot of you who are watching are probably know who Laura over at Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming is. And she, like myself and a lot of other of our yarny friends, do a lot of donations. And I love Laura because she is just as passionate about it as I am. And like me, pretty much like 95, if not more, percent of everything she makes is donation. So besides her hats and all that that she does donations with and Boggy Creek, etc., she woke up with an epiphany, sort of a calling, that besides the donation hats that she's been doing for her local breadline for the homeless, she was also going to start making up personal hygiene kits. And included in those personal hygiene kits, she was putting like deodorant wipes, toothbrushes, toothpaste, flossers, bar soap, things like that. And she was wanting to do a handmade item. So she thought washcloths. Great, washcloths. Well, Laura calls herself a slow crocheter, which to me, I think she crochets plenty fine. She's faster than what she thinks. And so she was feeling like she couldn't make up enough of the hygiene packs to continually donate on a regular basis. So I know a lot of other content creators and subscribers have been making her some washcloths and sending to her. I have started making them, and up until July, I had finished 91. My goal by the end of July was to finish 9 more to make it an even 50, and that way I could get them laundered and I can get them shipped out. So, how many did I get made for Laura? Well, let's check it out. Here's 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 9. So that put my total to add these 9 to before it was 41, and I got 9 of them done. So I will be getting these laundered and shipped out to our wonderful Laura. That has such a caring heart. And if you do not know who Laura is, she will be linked in the description box as well. Please, please, please go check her out. She is an amazing lady. She does so much for her community as well as others. And I promise you, if you go check her out because you don't know her, you will absolutely adore her like all of us do. So, with that, let's go on to our next item. So, I got 9 washcloths. And then, speaking of Laura, um, she has also been doing something that started off as a dare, actually a double dog dare and a triple dog dare. And it started last September, and a lot of you have seen our episodes um, called Wednesday Wipeout, where we have been making one dishcloth a week, and we are slowly ticking down to the end of it. Um, it'll end in September, where we are making a year of dishcloths. It's a book that has 52. Check out Wednesday Wipeout video. And if you want the whole rundown, the whole gamut, go check out Laura over at Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming because she's got the whole FYI, the down low, all that. And people who finish them send her the photos and she puts them into a video, a photo montage at the very end of her weekly video. So I have been participating if you are new here. Um, and we have done 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for the month of July. So which ones did we do? Well, we did golden fans. So I got that one done. And then we did, it was supposed to be a Thanksgiving turkey, and I did a Thanksgiving peacock. And I think he is so super cute. I love it. And then we did the before the pie, which is an apple. And then the last one was supposed to be illusions, and I cheated and I let the self-striping yarn do all my lines. So there we go. That was the 4 for a year of Dishcloth Wednesday Wipeout for the month of July. So let's get them marked off because we talked about them. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I have also been participating. I'm participating a lot um, with Nova Gnome. She has been doing something called Freeform Fridays. And if you do not know our Nova, go check her out. She will be in the description box. Yes, we're mentioning a lot of people today. I've been participating a lot. Go check her out for Freeform Fridays as well as her other content. She is adorable. You will love her. She is so stinking cute and so, so sweet and so creative. The girl is brilliant, very artistic. Well, with Freeform Friday, you basically, she's rolling a die every week, and whatever number it falls on, she has a color that corresponds to the number. So, whatever the number pops up is the color we have to use that week to do a freeform crochet piece, which basically means there's no pattern. You don't have an end goal. You just grab your yarn and you have at it and you freeform crochet. And they can be used for so many different things. She's made an awesome looking freeform bag with a gorgeous strap that she found to match. And so I have been participating and I actually have 8 freeforms done for the month of July. And so the first one was pink right here. And this is the first time I've ever done freeform crochet. Never ever in my life. And I had been watching and I was like, well, and I told her, I said, if I get a chance, I'll participate. Once I started making them, I'm addicted. I love it. I think it's so fun. It's very relaxing and it's kind of one of those woo-saw projects where, because you know you're not following a pattern, you're just doing your own thing. So this was my first one with pink. And I think I used 3 different colors. And then the second week was green. And it ended up being a leaf form. So I put in some little squirrely bits. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I kind of ended up having a tropical theme going on. And then the third week was yellow. And I just started off doing a swirl and then it kind of became oblong and it became this turtle. So I went with it. And this is by far my favorite so far. Well, there's another one that's right there with it, but I love, 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 love the turtle. And then the fourth week was white. And I was kind of thinking, okay, it's a snowflake. Um, but then somebody pointed out that it could still fit in with my tropical theme because it was kind of giving off sand dollar vibes. And I was like, yes, yes, there we go. So it's a sparkly sand dollar. And then the fifth week was rainbow. And this is what mine came out looking like. And I'm kind of seeing beta fish. I don't know why beta fish, but that was week 5. And then week 6, and this one really tops. This one was orange. And mine ended up starting to look like a kitty. So I just went with it and I gave it a face and some whiskers. And between the turtle and this one's my top favorite so far, and the turtle's a close second. Almost number 1. So there we go. And then the next week was red. And I don't even know where I was going with that, but this is where it came out. And if I'm going with the theme of the tropical, maybe it's a stingray. I have no idea. So that was my week for red. And then the next one was black. And I ended up doing this with a lot of fuzzy yarn and sparkly yarn. And I think it's super cool. Yeah. Once I did the black, I ended up pulling some little bit of chenille that was Dollar Tree, and it had the black. So I just kind of went around everything and I was like, "Ooh, I like it." So there we go. That was that. So in total, I had 8 freeform scrumbles is what they're called. Scrumbles. So we're going to put those back in their bag here in a minute so we don't lose any. So we got those. And then let's see. And then we've got some donations that I got done. So the first donation that I finished for July was this Peter the Pig right here. So he will be going to live at hospice next time we have a meetup. And our contact person, Tracy, comes to pick things up. So this is Peter. And yes, he does have his little squirrely tail. The original pattern does not have this bib or this bow tie. I thought he was looking a little plain. So I went ahead and just added this on and then made him the little bow tie and sewed it on. So, and I think he's so stinking cute. There are 2 more that go along with this pattern. There's a Penelope and a baby pig. So those will be getting made at some point. But for now we have Peter done and all he needs is to be bagged up in the organza bag and his paperwork filled out and he will be ready to go. So there's Peter. That was my first donation besides the dishcloths. I mean, the washcloths for Laura. So we got this one. So that means I have, that makes, so if I have 9 washcloths and Peter, that's 10 donation items. And then um, Jennifer over at Cinnamon Stitches, I love that woman. And as most of you know, I'm not a big fan of tutorials. And it's because I'm old school. Before internet times is when I learned to crochet. And so I prefer, if it's not something I already have in my head, I prefer the written pattern. I struggle with tutorials. So whenever I do end up liking a tutorial, that's saying something. Last year, one of the first ones that I really enjoyed and I talked about was Ella from No Catchy Name, her little bat. Um, I still love that one. I plan on making more Ella if you're watching. But Jen came out with this tutorial about a month ago, I think. And she has recently gotten into amiguramis, and I am enjoying the ride with her because me, as the crazy amigurami lady, I really enjoy seeing people who say that they can't do them or will never do them or don't like to do them all of a sudden get addicted. And now they're all about Amis. And she's on the Ami train right now. And I am going to enjoy every minute of the ride as long as she's on it. But she came out with this little snuggler kind of pattern. And it's based off of one of the little Michael's Ami kits. They're not so great. She took the idea and ran with it and created her own, and she called it Dee Dee the Sleeping Dragosaurus. And I've already made one. I've got the yarn pulled for a second one already, and I think she came out so stinking cute. And I followed her pattern to a T. I love her tutorial. I love it, love it, love it. I cannot give her enough kudos for that tutorial because I found so much joy in making this cute little thing that I know is going to be so loved by somebody because some of these Amis that I make to donate to hospice, some of them go to the patients, yes, but some of them actually go to littles that are family members of the patients, especially if they live in the home or they're with the patient a lot. So whenever they take the patient their gift, they also will take a handmade gift to the little. And so I love making things like this. And I know this one, whoever receives it on the other end is absolutely going to adore her. But I do plan on making some more. So this is number 9, 10, 11 for donations. And so we'll mark her off. And then that leaves my last donation. I need to back up a little bit. It's summertime, and when it comes to blankets, I use a lot of Mandela. As you notice, I have quite a bit, you know, and I have boxes and totes of it. Um, and I especially love making the rainbow blankets because they are very well received at hospice. I don't know if it's the rainbows that bring joy or what. And I do heavier weight ones as well. Excuse me, cucumber. But I also really enjoy making the 3-weight blankets, especially during the summer, because I know some of the patients don't want something heavy. And using any of the Mandela cakes is perfect. So I had gotten at the Joann's liquidation. They didn't have very much Mandela when we went in there at the very last. And they happened to be unloading some crates and they were packaged in packages of 3 cakes. And the girl laying on top of the bin, they had 2 packages with 3 each of the cakes called Rainbow Falls in the Mandela Baby. And so I asked the girl, could I look at them? Because I had not seen this one on the shelf locally at all. And she said, sure. And she handed them to me and she's like, if you want them, take them. You know, everything's got to go. And I looked at Brian and he looked at me and he just smiled. And I said, sold. And we threw them in the buggy. And I have used 3.5 of them to make a rainbow blanket. Now, this looks a little different than what I normally use because normally I use the nifflers and I always try and put some kind of different kind of edging on them to give them some character. But they absolutely love these. And so I got this one done. And so it's ready to go too. Like I said, these hospice donations, all I have to do is I just have to make a tie string for this, which I forgot apparently because it's not in the bucket. And we roll them like this. And then we put a tie string on them. And we tuck the paperwork in it that goes with it. So there we go. So that is donation number 12. And that one goes to hospice. And then, last but not least, um, since 100 Days of Halloween started 9 days ago, don't mind that sign. That is getting ready for tomorrow's video recording, because I know it says number 10. So far, as of the viewing of this, we have 9 days of 100 Days of Halloween. And if you've been watching, you know that I am um, crocheting along with Ranee over at the Woolly Llama. Drop in another name. Love you, girl. I love all my yarny friends. Um, we have been doing 6 by 6 inch squares that are fall or Halloween themed, and we will eventually start putting them together and building Halloween slash fall themed blankets. And seeing as how we're making them 6 inch by 6 inch, by the time you put in the where we're attaching them, the blankets are going to be a little over 60 by 60 because we're trying to do 100 squares in 100 days. Yep, 1 square a day. So for the 9 days we've already done, here we go. Day 1 was this little witchy hat, which I think is so stinking cute. Day 2 was the little ghosty. Day 3 was Frankie. Day 4 was the skull. Day 5 was this crazy squirrel. Day 6 was this owl on a tree branch in front of the full moon with some stars, and the moon sparkles. And I actually have a request for one of these. So, yes, I have to make another one. And then, oh, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is day 7, the pumpkin. And then my favorite, day 8, which is the kitty silhouette in front of a sunset. And then day 9 was my bat. So 9 days, the first 9 days of 100 days of Halloween. And it has been a blast. I'm hoping I'll be able to keep up. Fingers crossed. Um, but all I know is we are having so much fun. And even if we do get behind, it is what it is. But trying not to, because I really want to see this blanket. So I'm trying to stay motivated, guys. So the total of finished projects for July was 33. Granted, some of them are small, but they're still finished. And side note, I also, more yarn out. I have donated 6 of these in various colors. They are out my house and then shipped out. And that was a total of 31.74 ounces out the door, even though I didn't make anything with them. So, ounce wise, for my finished projects, my ounces totaled up to 62.99. And if you include the ounces for the yarn out, that was a total of 94.73 out of the yarn stash. Now, my grams, 62.99 ounces for the finished projects. If you convert it to grams, it's 1,785.74 grams for a whopping total of 3.94 pounds of yarn. And that's just the finished project yarn. So I've used 3 pounds, 0.94 ounces of, 3.94 pounds of yarn for 33 finished projects because a lot of them are small. Um, so yeah, that was my July projects total. Hopefully, I was thinking it was going to be a little higher, but I keep forgetting to take into account the Wednesday wipeout dishcloths are not, they're not very weighty. Um, the Amis have been fairly small. The only big thing that it got totally finished was the granny square blanket. And because it's a 3-weight, it doesn't weigh a whole bunch. Um, and then, of course, the scrumbles, the little freeform scrumbles, those are very small. They don't weigh a whole lot. And then my squares. The total for the 9 washcloths for Laura was 14.04. Golden Fans dishcloth 1.34. Peter the Pig was 10.41 ounces. The scrumbles, all 8 of them together, was 3.70. So you know they didn't weigh a whole lot. The Thanksgiving Peacock dishcloth was 1.323. Before the pie dishcloth, the apple was 1.06. Um, the striped dishcloth was 1.52. Dee Dee, the sleeping Dragosaurus, was 6.95. The Granny Square Mandela blanket was 16 ounces, so 1 pound exactly. And then the 9 Halloween squares was 6.74 for a whopping total of 62.99 ounces or 3.94 pounds. 33 finished. Not bad, guys. Hopefully I'm hoping to be able to top that next month, which I should be able to for a square day because there's 30 days in September. So if I can keep up, that's 30 squares plus the Wednesday wipeouts and whatever else I get finished. So there we go. That is July's hashtag craft yourself free totals for July. Yay! Another month gone by, and now we start on September. So here we go again. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for stopping by and checking out the finished projects for July. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for day 10 of 100 Days of Halloween 2025 and for Freeform Friday. So with that, I'm going to say bye for now. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.